Here we go. Hey, welcome to the Big Time Strength Podcast. I am your host for the week, Amanda Berg, and usually we would have this week reserved for our crew chat, but we have some other stuff going on with the guys. Some big news. Mr. Preston Peterson just said that I could share with you as he just had, his wife Emily just had her baby. So please welcome to the world, Nash,
Congrats, Coach.
Archer, Peterson. Both mom and baby are doing well, and he's about to be a whole lot busier. So we're really excited for them, but we pride ourselves on being working coaches, and the guys had something going on this week, and they're killing it at their school. So I'm very excited. We have another member of our crew. We're doing what we're going to call a sponsor spotlight instead. So I wanted to welcome Hewitt Tomlin. Welcome, Coach. I guess you're my coach a little bit.
Wow, coach should be a stretch, but if you feel like saying it, you're more than welcome to. I won't stop you.
Yes. So yes, I was excited to have Hewitt on. I'm like, I want to do a sponsor spotlight because I'm like, I know Hewitt. I love Hewitt. He's awesome. So we met maybe three years ago?
It would have been the summer of 3 years ago in Indiana.
In Indiana, yes. Coach kind of said we got this house together, and he said there's going to be the guys from TeamBuildr, and they're awesome. And then Hewitt emails out that he'll bring the kale chips. So I don't know. I was a little bit worried about that. But
yep. We had a lot of Midwestern high school strength coaches in that house. You know, the kombucha jokes fell a little flat.
Yeah. I don't think that was still there by the end of the trip, but no. And then we got to stay with him in Nashville last year, and I've just always had a great time just being around you at conferences. I love your business. I love what you got going on. So I'm excited to have you and have a little chat.
Thanks. It is the sponsored chat, but we're friends after all.
Yeah.
Let's think of this as like a mini crew chat. Why not?
Yeah, and we don't get to have a conference this year, so this will be our time to talk. So, well, good. So talk to us a little bit about TeamBuildr. Lots of changes in the last 6 months. How's your life been?
Well, like a lot of companies, we're a remote company now. And you might have guessed I'm an extrovert. So it's not, my favorite thing, obviously. I like to come to the office and do a little backslapping and, small talk. And it's a lot harder to do that now. But things are good because I feel like we've had a good opportunity this year to help out a lot of coaches who all of a sudden found themselves in a situation where they had to program and train athletes remotely. And that's kind of what we do. So a lot of people came and said, hey, can you help me out? And we said, yeah, we can definitely help you out. So that's been the bright side. The biggest bright side.
So a lot more people. And was it have you had to grow the company? Have you had to add people? What's changed as far as your workload with it?
So we've actually hired 2 people this year, which is a lot for a small company like ours. We hired an engineer out of Iowa, which when you hire an engineer, that is always a really good thing. And we hired someone remotely. We've never met him. He's been working for us for months. And it's kind of funny how that works. I don't think we would have done that before, but the pandemic just kind of forced that on us to be open-minded to that kind of hire. Another hire we made was a strength coach. COVID was tough on his school's budget. He was at a college in California, and I happened to talk shop with him. In fact, he had called me and said, hey, look, I will no longer be employed at this school, but I want to make sure that I program for my kids so they get access to programming, which I thought was just amazing, right? So emblematic of the ideal TeamBuildr customers, a coach who really cares about their kids. And he told me this, and then it kind of dawned on me, we were looking for someone to do sales on the West Coast, and he was a nice guy, and he seemed like he was a good fit, and we ended up hiring him, which felt really good to just have a customer fall into a bad situation and be able to present them with another one.
Wow. So was he remote too, or did you get to meet him?
I've never met him ever.
He's working. Wow, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So and you could see on social media just people on board, like, what is this TeamBuildr? What is this TeamBuildr? And just all the
Yeah.
questions. And I'm sure so many coaches are like, now's the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You saw it for sure. And it was really good. And then at the same time, a decent amount of our customers and the private side of, performance training, anyone who owns a business right now, it's a weird year. I mean,
Yes.
there are some few businesses who are going to do better, but most of the businesses are kind of in this gray area where, everyone's just kind of hoping things return back to normal ASAP.
Yeah, and that's been a big feature. I want to make sure we talk about that feature too.
Oh,
The payment feature.
That's right.
So, awesome. Well, can you hear the kids in the background? I'm in
Just a little bit. I'm in my
locker room, so we didn't even think we'd have sports. So I'll take that little bit of that noise.
Take it for sure. And I'll warn listeners too. I'm in like a shoebox apartment here. So if you see my dog getting crazy, if you see me running around after my dog with a rolled up newspaper, don't be surprised. No, I'm kidding.
Might happen. Well, and gosh, I had a good customer service. And if you ever hear, anyone asking about TeamBuildr, they'll always usually mention your name, mention Luke's name, who goes to, a lot of stuff with you, Luke Green. And I called during, right at the beginning of the pandemic. School was just shut down, and you had got out your body weight programming. And want to throw that in there. And I'm looking through it. I can't figure it out. I thought, well, I'll just call and maybe set up a session and put it down and get set up. So I called the number, and Luke Green answered the phone. I couldn't believe it. That just says something about, your customer service. And told them who I was. Oh, hello. And, we got to talk together and got the answer figured out right away. And just how much of the power of a moment in that, being able to talk to him, and something I thought I'd have to wait a couple days for just got solved in a second by somebody. So just your customer service is top notch, and anybody that's worked with you, I mean, you do it different.
Well, I appreciate that. It started a long time ago when it was really just James and I starting the company, and felt like it was really important. And when you hire good people, they're able to absorb, the kind of qualities that you want to pass down at a company. I think it's so funny. Sometimes people get surprised when I answer support emails. They'll email support@teambuildr.com, but if it's 8:00 at night and no one's on the support inbox, sometimes I'll just answer it, to go through it and kind of chip away at it. And in my email signature, I put CEO, which my partner James and I we're co-founders. We're equal at the company, but I use it. I think I don't like using it. I feel like it's kind of pretentious, but it actually is convenient. If I need something from someone, like if I do an outbound email needing a favor, you're gonna get a response if it says CEO in your email signature. So that's why I use it, to be honest. But people sometimes, especially if they're new to TeamBuildr, they're like, wow, I can't believe that the CEO is replying to the support inbox. And I was like, well, for one thing, it's not a Fortune 500. There's only a few people around here. And I was doing that many, many years before there were support people in here doing it. So it's nothing new to me. And it's actually good to kind of get involved on the ground floor to, keep your ears to the ground.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. It just says so much about you. And I suppose it seems like just this huge company because you're everywhere, Yeah,
I think people do. We pretend to appear like a big company.
Oh, awesome. So, with going through this, what are you seeing as some of the key features used, maybe, I don't know, through the pandemic, or just that people are really getting onto right now with TeamBuildr?
One interesting one is the video feature. Meaning athletes recording themselves and uploading it to TeamBuildr. So when we installed that feature, we thought, this is for coaches who train clients remotely. I don't know how much it'll be used in a team setting per se, and ended up coming through big for the teams. Because, when you ask an athlete to check the checkbox that they did an exercise, that's good. If you ask them to tell you what weights they did for each set of back squat, that's great. But hey, send me a video. And now the athlete feels like they're participating, because they're showing their work, so to speak. And that was a big feature that really came through.
Yeah, and I found that to be I love that feature. That's probably, that and tags are my favorite feature that I use,
Yeah.
constantly. So we had an assignment. I'm a high school phy ed teacher that teaches strength and conditioning, and assignment I've been doing for years is where students will have to take video, watch it themselves, then they have to show a peer, and then I'm their third video. And it's been so, it used to be where they would come to me with their phone or with a tablet, and now they can send those videos to me and I can look at them all in one night. That's been huge. So it has, I've been able to, I know a lot of them are probably using them out of the classroom, but I actually used it in the classroom a lot more. So I love that feature. And it's all right there. You look at the kid and every video that they've done is all in their journal. So,
as people use this over time, I think my vision for this feature is that, we look at like a chart of an athlete over 4 years. This is their back squat as a freshman. This is their back squat. And we do that often with the male sports and the combine and stuff like that. What I kind of want is for coaches to say, here's a video of this person's squat, whatever kind of squat they're doing as a freshman. Here's a video of them squatting as a senior. Let's do like a chart, a graph, but with the quality of movement over time. That's kind of what I wanted for that feature.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be awesome. Cause it'll be there forever, won't it? Yeah. Awesome. And I have some kids like as young as 5th grade we have doing it. I'm going to do that. We got to.
Oh, when they're a senior? At their graduation party, here's you squatting as a 5th grader.
Show their video. Yep. I love it. So yeah, the video feature. Let's see. Are you, you talked about that you didn't really see that. Is there anything else in TeamBuildr that, you put it in there, but you didn't see it turning into something the way that it has?
So messaging, it sounds simple, but messaging has been really popular. And for one, I think it's the strength coaches like that they have like a messaging tool that belongs to them. They don't have to borrow Huddle or use like a school messaging system. I think that's kind of nice. And people have used messaging so much that we actually decided to like invest more resources and making it more robust. That's kind of our one of our newer things coming up, like scheduling a push notification to come out to the phones at a certain time. If you want to remind them at 5 a.m. that there's a workout today and here's a questionnaire. So I was kind of surprised by that. But then at the same time, I kind of noticed that coaches wanted to use less Facebook messaging. They wanted to use less text messaging. They kind of appreciated a messaging system that was kind of built into the platform that they do everything else for in terms of programming and managing the strength program. So I was kind of surprised by that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great feature too. And being able to select different teams. I'm sure I like that with messaging.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a little bit of listening to the new podcast. One of my favorite people to listen to is John Bierbauer, and you had him on. I'm like, I gotta get on. So let's talk about the podcast a little bit. What made that become a thing?
Well, let's be honest with everyone. This is not my first attempt at starting a podcast.
Oh.
I've tried it in the past. And, this time around, my mentor really kind of pushed me to do it because he more or less said, you have these great conversations with your customers on a daily basis. I think it would be helpful if you recorded some of these every once in a while. And these recordings, you can do a lot with them. Of course, the podcast is a way to build a TeamBuildr brand. That's one reason we do it. But I think it's actually good for me to have these conscious conversations with customers of mine. I have them anyway. This just forces them to talk to me for an hour as opposed to stealing 15 minutes of their time. And then, we actually at TeamBuildr source a lot of our blog content from our customers. And the issue we always run into, and this will kind of give you some insight into like how marketing works at a company, is that you kind of have to choose the content that you want to write about or ask people to write about for you. That's like, your content strategy. And we always kind of struggled with understanding like what's relevant to coaches. What do people want to talk about? What do they want to hear our customers write about? And the podcast, in our view, is a way to essentially extract, what's important. What are people thinking about? What's relevant? And the podcast would kind of be like the guide for how we chose to spend time working on our content for marketing purposes.
Okay, so able to find out what's going on out there.
Yeah, exactly right. Otherwise, you'll find yourself sitting down with a Google Doc and just thinking of, blog topics. And
Yeah.
that there's just a better way to do it than that.
Okay. So we're in about how long in? A month in?
Yeah, well, maybe about a month in from publishing them. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, talking about your blog, one of my favorite blogs to come to my inbox is TeamBuildr, and I love the way that you write. Oh, you got me last year. My favorite, I think, blog ever written was about the Get Back coach,
Uh,
right? And was it Sean McVay and his strength coach Ted Rath?
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, Hewitt. And then I saw social media, like, I guess I had something to say. So what brought that about and kind of standing up for us as strength coaches?
Well, let me just say that when I wrote that, I was having like nightmares that that Ted Rath was going to like text me and say, "Hey, don't ever talk about me again. Do you know who I am?" Ted Rath, he's a pretty fit strength coach.
Oh yeah.
So here's I think this is what eventually got to me. I meet someone at a party, right, a dinner party or what have you, getting beers with folks, and I say, "Hey, so what do you do?" And I say, "Oh, I run a company that helps strength and conditioning coaches." And they go, "Oh, I love that Get Back coach, for or whatever team." And I think at one point I was like, it's kind of upsetting that most strength coaches are really, really great. And Ted Rath is too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And they have master's degrees and they put a lot of time and effort into being like much more than a strength coach. And I was meeting people and they were like, "Oh yeah, the Get Back coach on the sideline. I think that's so funny." And I think I was just tired of hearing that one too many times. And, when ESPN did this little feature and they talked about, it's like a little dance, you got to follow the coach and pull them back. At some point, I just thought it was so silly. I wanted to say something about it. And I think that was my inspiration for writing that.
So this was last year. What was the follow-up with it? Did you get any appreciation? Did you?
I think a lot of people did appreciate the post.
Yeah.
I think in strength and conditioning, for better or for worse, if you have a strong opinion, you're going to get some, people fired up and backing you one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a little bit of that. But, I think it was maybe important to say it, maybe as someone who is not a strength coach, and say, look, your industry is, your profession is going to be viewed and you're going to gain reputations for different things. And that's something to consider, as you kind of discuss this as a profession.
Awesome. I love it. I loved it. It invoked feelings, definitely.
Yeah.
So, from that, from the outside looking in, what do you see kind of the future of strength and conditioning coaches and the value of them? You really talked about that, and that's, what got me in on it.
Yeah. Well, I this was talked about on my podcast with Corey Waltz, and I just see a lot of strength coaches getting their hands into a lot of things. They're delving into research papers on micronutrition and vitamin levels and all sorts of stuff. The profession is becoming more holistic, if you want to use that word.
Okay.
I believe it's becoming more holistic. And look, I don't think, at least here in the US, you don't have to worry about coaches, delving into other topics around performance and then forgetting about strength. American strength coaches are still first and foremost, very big on getting athletes stronger. I don't think there's any risk of that not being the main focus of the, scope of work for a strength coach. But it is nice to see things, really coaches really kind of expanding and trying to influence the behaviors and health outcomes of athletes outside the weight room, whether it is nutrition or just, behavior patterns around recovery and sleep and things of that nature, and just trying to find more efficient ways of, dosing athletes on a daily basis in a way that's, optimal for the individual, especially if you're, training hundreds of athletes a day. There's a big effort towards the individualistic approach. At the same time, doing it in a team setting, making sure they're training as a team, and this is still a team effort in the weight room. So I see coaches expanding their roles, their knowledge into different areas. And I think that's a really good thing because, right now, I came up in a collegiate setting where you had the athletic trainers and they took care of athletes when athletes were injured or not 100%. And then the strength coaches take care of athletes when they are 100%. And that's kind of how we divvied up the responsibilities. And we never said anything about, I think this has changed now, especially the bigger colleges, but, who's going to be in charge of telling athletes about sleeping and eating and, these recovery strategies and taking that approach. And, I think strength coaches are like, well, you're going to give me everyone who's healthy. I'm going to take it upon myself to do everything I can besides just make sure that this athlete gets training in for 1 hour a day, 3-4 times a week. So that's a trend I've seen without a doubt.
Yeah, you can't just go out and bench anymore. You can't just send the football player in, even at the high school level, we're seeing it, that it's not enough. The kids see it from other sources. They see it from the college coach, and they see that it needs to be well-rounded, So that's definitely been a big part. And I'd also say the leadership and motivation, development of students has really been a big part at the high school level. You're seeing the strength and conditioning coach fall into that role, plus nutrition, plus, so I don't know, that's where TeamBuildrs help so much. You can put all different parts of it. Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful that TeamBuildr can play a role in that. At the same time, I feel like TeamBuildr's got a lot to do because there's a lot of coaches doing some innovative things, and they're doing more than just programming sets and reps. So, we're keen on that. We're listening, and we're definitely ready to expand, with as the profession expands, because, we've made a commitment that we are for strength and conditioning coaches, whether you're a high school strength coach or an NFL strength coach, or you completely online trainer, but really you're a strength coach, right? Because you're programming the same way. So that's who we serve. And then our platform is just going to develop around that profession. We're not a fitness app. We're not going to go and try to help people sell, PDFs on Instagram. And we're not going to, and look, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. That's just not our customer. So I'm excited about just continuing to develop a platform that's very narrowly serving this role, the strength and conditioning coach, no matter the setting.
What do you think, just thinking 5 years from now, what do you see with TeamBuildr? How do you see any parts that could hold that, like leadership development?
I'll be honest here. It's hard to look 5 years down the road.
Oh yeah.
Because we have a lot of choices that could be made that we don't want to make. We could focus on the professional sports realm, and that would mean that we would have to integrate with AMS platforms and maybe integrate with wearables in a way that provides a lot of data, or we could focus on high school only, or we could totally go towards the private sector. Our goal is to build features that serves everyone simultaneously. It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that's going to look like 5 years down the road, so I don't mean to cop out of answering your question there, but in 5 years, I'll be 35. So I'll maybe have a couple of kids by then. And then I'll just say, look, I'm just trying to keep my head above water.
That'll make you maybe do more. When you're trying to keep your head above water, I don't know, you just end up getting more done sometimes. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, well, that goes to, we always ask our guests, and I guess we're chatting here, but I still want to see, what is big time to you? What is your big time being here? We say making it big time where you're at. Yeah. What is big time with TeamBuildr?
Well, I remember the first time I learned about that concept. Ron McKeefery wrote about it in CEO Strength Coach, his book. Yep. But it's an older concept. He was explaining it, based on someone else, I think, who wrote a book about it. And I loved it. I thought it was so cool. And, immediately the light bulb went off. I meet so many people who are making the big time where they are. And it makes so much sense now. So for me at TeamBuildr, I really care about my employees. I want them to feel like their work is meaningful. So I try to sometimes, I guess you would call it professional development, but I really want to let people know that when you're at TeamBuildr, I want you to, gains like be so skilled when you leave that you're like an MVP free agent if you want to move on and do something that's like beyond TeamBuildr, right? We're a small startup and there's a lot of opportunity for our employees. But I think it'd make me really happy if someone just absolutely crushed it in their job for 2-3 years and was like, hey, I'm ready to spread my wings and make a bigger impact at that would be awesome. So I tell them that no one's really actually thankfully moved on and done that. I guess that's a good thing. So they're sticking around. But if someone was like, if TeamBuildr is a place where people just accelerate as like a young professional, that would really make me happy. It would make me proud as, like someone who supervises and develops these people that like, we churn out. Your place turns out elite athletes. I turn out elite, young professionals. They go on to do big time things, and maybe they'll stick around and stay big time for me. That's kind of a thought I've had. So, like I said, no one's left yet, and that's really good. But if they do for the right reasons, I'm totally cool with it.
Wow. And you can tell employees, they love to be there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But prior to March, if anyone followed our Instagram, there's always some malarkey going on, especially on Friday at the TeamBuildr office.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can imagine. You said you'd probably just a big thing to miss.
Yeah.
So, oh boy. Awesome. Well, let's see. Any new features you gonna like sneak peek that we got coming up?
So, James, my business partner, right? He runs the development side of things, and I think about a year ago, he reads and researches this stuff, right? He's on top of his game.
Okay.
And he said that I think the best way to go about developing new features is that we have a big pool of features that people request and that we think of, right? This is like the big pool, and we pull out stuff from it and we build that in a 12-week sprint. 12 weeks. And we don't plan the next sprint until we finish the existing one. So it's almost like anti-planning, anti-road mapping. And for a variety of reasons, this is the way he has spoken. And this is how we do things now. So I can only talk about the 12-week roadmap and can't do much on the long-term roadmap. And I think that's been a good thing for us. So like I mentioned, on the 12-week roadmap, it's the current one, all about communication. We're working on, the daily workout emails and talking about not just redoing features, but expanding on that capability, messaging, communication. We're just going to take like a different approach to how communication is done inside of TeamBuildr. And again, this is to kind of accommodate, people who may or may not be training with you in the facility.
Okay. It's a very movie star answer, Hewitt.
Is that not enough? I wish I had more for you there, but this is the method. This is the way.
I like it. Well, it is very easy to submit recommendations of what you want in TeamBuildr, right? So I love it that you got that right out there.
People can vote on each other's answers.
Yeah.
So, hey, and that's great. That is good. So before you suggest an answer, search for it first, or before you suggest a feature, search for it, because some poor soul every once in a while has to go through there and merge all these features and feature requests, right? Like if there's 3 separate ones floating around, you're splitting your votes up. Just put your votes together.
Okay, yeah, I bet there's a lot of stuff on there that you're like, we have this. Just
sometimes that does happen. Hey, hi John, this feature exists. Let me send you a link.
I bet. Awesome. Well, we finish up here. As we finish, we like to call it the Fast Five with coaches, and I know I love you as a character, so I'm excited to ask you a few things. I've seen you have to sneak into the weight room and get kicked out a couple times, but you get 15 minutes to train. What are you doing?
I am doing bench and pull-up supersets.
Okay.
Because I am just a classic American weightlifter. I like the upper body. Guilty as charged. Okay. I'd rather feel bigger than smaller. And you know what, the bench press pull-ups, it hurts for a little bit, but once you're done, I think you come out just a little bit wider, just a little bit.
Stand a little taller.
Yeah, look, I'm just, I'm a stereotypical guy there. That was a stereotypical answer. That's my honest answer. Sticking with it.
Sticking with it. I love it. How about some hobbies?
Oh, hobbies. Well, my new pandemic hobby is taking Norwegian lessons on Saturday mornings.
Oh my gosh.
And so my mother's Norwegian, and it's just so embarrassing to go visit your family in Norway and not speak Norwegian. I just said, hey, you know what? It's time for me to put a little bit of effort into this thing. So I found a tutor who tutors me on Skype. She's really awesome. She's really sweet. I'm really excited most Saturdays to get up and have coffee and learn a new language. Mm-hmm. And then there are some other days where it's really hard to find the motivation to learn a new language because it's hard.
It's a hard language, yes.
It hurts the brain. So that's my most recent hobby. Other than that, I'm just in the weight room.
Are you? Okay. Yeah. Love it. You have to work out at home now?
Well, if you recall the TeamBuildr gym, I go to TeamBuildr, and it's kind of my own personal quarantine area, the king of my own castle, if you will. So the squat rack, I got some power blocks, which, by the way, my most valuable piece of workout equipment in my weight room are my power blocks. Nothing better. They go up to 90 pounds and increment 2.5. They're worth their weight in gold.
COVID related too. That's what I've been looking to get, so I can have one on each rack, and that way they can be cleaned easier. One handle, get them cleaned up. So that's my next big purchase.
Very few downsides. The only downside is if you follow the pen and paper strength app, there are copious amounts of dumbbell pullovers, and those get a little hard with the power blocks. But other than that, they're fine. Okay,
gotcha. Love it. How about a quote? You got any quotes hanging up in the office?
Oh, you know what? I just put a quote out on my Instagram story. Do you know anyone following Squattober?
Yep.
So last Friday, Squattober was you could pick a set and rep scheme, and it was you're going to hit 21 reps, 21 to party, and if you pick 3 sets of 7, which is the fewest sets, that's the Scott Caulfield route. Yeah, Scott Caulfield.
Yep.
So I went full Caulfield, and I broke out the Tropic Thunder quote, which is you can't go full. Have you seen Tropic Thunder?
Long time ago, but I've seen it.
This is my Philly quote. Anyway, there's a Robert Downey Jr. quote. Yep. I won't say it on the podcast, but people can look it up on YouTube if they want. But I went full Caulfield. Everyone knows you don't go full Caulfield. So that was my own kind of pseudo quote that I put out there on the Instagram universe. But we do have some. So that's my silly quote. You want to say it? No,
I want you, Hewitt. Silly is all right.
This is not the Fast Five. I feel so bad. I feel like I'm butchering the Fast Five. This is like this is its own podcast segment. You might have to break the podcast up in like episode 1 and episode 2. I'm sorry to butcher it.
No, I want the serious one, the professional version too.
Okay, the professional one: trust but verify. People sometimes attribute this quote to Ronald Reagan, but it preceded Ronald Reagan. I believe it's an old Russian KGB quote: trust but verify. And in the office, we always say, trust but verify. If Luke said he did something, I trust Luke, but I might verify it. And Luke might do the same to me. So, we say it kind of half seriously. It just kind of means like, everyone be thorough, okay? Because when things get really relaxed at TeamBuildr, some things can slip through the cracks. Trust but verify.
Oh, I like it. I have never even heard it before, so I love it. And your favorite organization to hang out with at conferences?
I'm going to make some college strength coaches angry. I'm going to get some angry college strength coach texts. But that's okay. I'll survive. The NHSSCA, best crew of all time. I especially love my Midwest crew. That's my Rob Brokaw's, Amanda, obviously, both Amandas. I have a special place for the Noblesville NHSSCA National Conference. Everything just moves a little slower in the Midwest. You kind of relax, let your hair down. And that was just a really good time. So yeah, I'm a high school coach, no doubt.
Yeah, probably just finding something new too. It's just, I don't know. I love it. I haven't been to the college ones, but we've enjoyed it. So we finish off a coach who's making it big time where they're at. And let's kind of turn it into the TeamBuildr version. Who's a coach that is just knocking TeamBuildr out of the park?
Who's knocking TeamBuildr out of the park? I would say Rich Burnett. If you want to say small school,
Yep.
it's large. Rich has always done a really good job with TeamBuildr. Gary in that role before him was the one that kind of pushed us towards APRE style programming, and doing that. So Rich has ran and kind of done the same thing, and Rich is doing some cool things on the VBT side of things, and kind of combining that stuff with the TeamBuildr data that he produces as well. So that's been impressive from Rich Burnett. I get with them a couple times a month just to kind of see what he's been working on lately, because he's got these little mad science projects going on the side that I'm always looking at. He
does. I was supposed to speak with him this year, and we're going to go next year for NatCon instead about heart rate training. And I'm like, oh man, Rich is like the mad scientist of high school strength and conditioning. I better be on my A game. So I'm getting ready for it for next year. Need a whole year to wait it out, but that might be next with TeamBuildr, a little heart rate training, huh?
Yeah, don't count us out. Don't count us out.
Awesome. Well, it's been good to talk to you. It's always fun. You just really mix the business, the leisure, and it's so fun to talk to you. So I appreciate you, and just for our podcast, getting on board with us early on. We're just so grateful for you. So thank you.
Happy to do it. I've been really impressed with this podcast, the job y'all have done. It's really turned out to be one of like the premier podcasts for high school strength and conditioning, the premier one. So it's been really cool to see the podcast kind of grow from where it started. And I just want to say, I'm like so heartbroken that we didn't get our NHSSCA conference this year, because it was like the highlight. It really is the highlight of my year. I look forward to it so much, and when it didn't take place, and it was taking place virtually, I know that, but it's just not the same. I told Gary, I told a lot of people that. So, we're chomping at the bit for a bigger version of the in-person conference whenever we can get back to that.
Well, Minnesota will not disappoint. I know people are like, Minnesota. No, Minnesota. It's going to be.
Oh, dare they? Yeah, it's Minnesota.
Yeah, it's
You're going to like
good. It's going to be awesome. So I'm excited for it, and we'll get to see you next June.
Yeah, next June. I'll be there.
Awesome. Thank you, Hewitt.
Hey, thank you.